What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. I know I've been away for a couple days. I'm back in Boston for the week, and I was, celebrating St. Patrick's Day, which, takes more than one day. But anyway, back in Boston, Nesson reporter Leah Hextall. Yes, of the Hextalls, the number 27 Flyers. Recently, it's the number 27 on there. Only me and Melanie Collins. Only Melanie Collins and I only insurance next year. We'll get to Melanie in a second, or a little bit longer in a second. Tweeted out needing help with their NCAA basketball bracket. Now, I know it's not the NCAA hockey bracket, which I've aced each of the last 3 years, but because I'm, me and Will Hunting and I have a lot in common, from the same 2-block radius. I figure I can knock this stuff out, and there's $1 billion on the line, and we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, if you guys want to help win $1 billion, be part of winning $1 billion, here's the codes. We're gonna go region by region. The South region, or the whatever region Florida is, I think that's Orlando off the top of my head. We got the Gators beating the 16th seed, either Albany or St. Mary's, and we got Pittsburgh beating Colorado, and we got that's that region. Then I got Florida beating Pittsburgh to move on to regionals. In the other region, the San Diego region, I got VCU beating Stephen F. Austin. I'm sure Stephen F. Austin's a nice guy, but he's not beating Shaker Smart VCU. Then I got UCLA beating Tulsa, and then VCU beating UCLA. So that's done. For the Buffalo region, I got Ohio State beating Dayton to find institutions of higher learning in the Buckeye State. Then I got Syracuse beating Western Michigan because, well, Syracuse. As I'm wearing, I can't stand Syracuse when I'm wearing an orange shirt, so I got nothing to really stand on. Then we got New Mexico and Stanford. Kind of went with the smart kids at first, but I'm going to go with New Mexico, beating them in the St. Louis region. Then in that same region, I got Kansas beating Eastern Kentucky. I look for Wayne Selden Jr. to have a big game. Boston zone. Then Raleigh region, I got Virginia beating Coastal Carolina. Fun fact about me, I was accepted to Coastal Carolina, but didn't attend. I went to Florida. I went further south to Florida. How'd that work out for me? How is that working out for me? Is probably a more appropriate question, as we're a month away from graduation. Then we got Memphis and George Washington. I got Memphis beating the George Washington University. Tough draw. Then up in Spokane, Washington, home to Spokane Chiefs and Tyler Johnson of the Tampa Bay Lightning's former team, as well as Rod Stewart's son plays for Spokane Chiefs now. I had to think of it. I was going to say Mick Jagger. I'm like, wait a minute. I love Rod Stewart for what it's worth. I get Cincinnati and Harvard. I get Cincinnati beating the smart kids from Harvard. And I got Michigan State beating Joe Biden's alma mater, University of Delaware. So we get Cincy and Michigan State. And then we got North Carolina, Providence. I got UNC beating the Fine Friars team. Then I got Iowa State beating NC Central because Iowa State Cyclones beating NC Central. UConn beating St. Joseph's. Yeah, let's be real. I got Villanova beating Milwaukee. So then I'm going to finish up this side of the bracket. VCU, UCLA, I got VCU. Florida, Pittsburgh, I got Florida. Syracuse, Ohio State, I got Big Orange. Kansas, New Mexico, I got Kansas. UVA and Memphis, I'm taking the number 1 seed UVA. Cincinnati, Michigan State, I'm taking Michigan State. Then I got Iowa State beating UConn to move on. And then I might as well finish off the regional finals. Florida's beating Kansas to move on to the Final Four. Michigan State is beating Iowa State to move on to the Final Four. I could say Frozen Four. Now let's do the right side of the brackets. Arizona against the 16th seed Weber State. I got Arizona. Got to roll with the Bearcats, or the Wildcats, I should say. Then I got Gonzaga beating Oklahoma State. Arizona beats Gonzaga to move on to regionals. That's the San Diego region. And then the Spokane region, because they got them on two sides of the bracket. Oklahoma beating North Dakota State. San Diego State beating Oklahoma, so it sets up San Diego State and Arizona in the regionals. I got Arizona winning there. I got Baylor over Nebraska. Creighton over Louisiana Lafayette. Creighton beating Baylor to move on. And then we got Oregon beating BYU. Wisconsin beating American University, which I actually think is in San Diego, in the Milwaukee region. I got Wisconsin beating Oregon, and Wisconsin beating Creighton to move on to set up with Arizona in the Elite Eight. We'll get to that in a second. I got Wichita State beating Cal Polytech or Texas Southern. Good luck to both of those fine institutions, but let's be honest, the unbeaten streak continues. I got Kentucky beating Kansas State. Then I got Wichita State beating Kentucky to move on to the Sweet 16. Then I got St. Louis and beating either NC State or Xavier. And then Louisville beating Manhattan, Louisville beating St. Louis, setting up Louisville, Wichita State. Louisville then beats Wichita State. We get the ZooMass at Amherst. Excuse me, University of Massachusetts at Amherst. It's not the Zoo. Beating Iowa or Tennessee. I'm a huge Volunteers fan, but I gotta go with huge Bulls fan. But I gotta go with the Minutemen in this one. And then I got Duke beating Mercer, and I got Duke beating UMass, and then we get Texas beating Arizona State, Michigan beating Wofford State, Michigan beating Texas. To set up Michigan Duke, I got Duke winning that. I got again Louisville beating Wichita State. So right now the Elite Eight on the side of the bracket are Arizona beating over Wisconsin to go to the Final Four, Louisville over Duke, Duke over Louisville, to go to the Final Four. Then I got Duke beating Arizona, Florida beating Michigan State to set up Florida and Duke in the national championship game. And despite a monster effort from Jabari Parker, put it down for 65-54. Gators getting the win. Billy Donovan's boys getting his third national title. So if that's all right, which I think it will be, the odds are my favorites, like 1 in a trillion, so it's not too bad. Better than my odds of going out with Kate Upton, so it's not bad. Yahoo Sports, Warren Buffett, with Quicken Loans are all doing like $1 billion thing. Melanie Collins, fan/friend of the Power Play, was hosting a thing about it, and I was like, solid. So Melanie, if I hit, we're gonna make Power Play style Philadelphia Flyers jerseys, or Philadelphia Flyers style Power Play with CJ jerseys. I'll send you one. I guess Leah Hextall gets one because this is the reason I did this piece. And yeah, me with $1 billion is kind of a funny thought, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Besides that, I might be able to pay off some of my other bookies. That's on this episode of the Power Play with CJ. Back to the traditional hockey coverage. As of now, so 2 more episodes for the season and beyond. Later, guys.